Good afternoon, friends. Let us just take an opportunity to ground ourselves in this space, and then we'll have an opening prayer. Whether you are seated in a chair or sitting at your desk or on a sofa, I want you to just feel your body. What sensations do you feel in your body? Let's start with your feet. How are they planted? And now move your awareness up through your legs and into your seat. Let that awareness travel up through your stomach, the seat of the soul. Let it rise into your chest, spreading through your shoulders, arms, fingertips. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Now let that arise into your neck, into your head. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Let's take another breath in, breathing in the breath and the life of God, and exhaling all that is not necessary for this time. Let us pray. God, we thank you for this time and this opportunity to come together as your people of faith. We ask that you help us to set aside anything and everything that does not serve us or your highest good, especially now as we bring our attention toward the matters before us, as we think about how your ancient peoples inspire us yet today to be the church, to be the hands, the heart, the feet, the mind of Jesus in our world today. And God, we ask a special prayer for those who are harmed or in harm's way, who may not have the resources and the support, the people for whom we are advocating through our ministries of service and care. We ask that you bless this call and bless every single person hearing the sound of my voice or reading the transcription of the words that I am speaking on the screen. It is in your holy name that we pray and we give thanks. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lawrence. Welcome, everybody. This Palm Sunday path came to me through Darcy Crane, who is a friend of Todd Lippert, who is working with Isaiah, Minnesota. Their vision was to have Christians from across the country come together on Palm Sunday with a different vision of what Christianity is all about, an alternative to the white Christian nationalism that seems so prevalent at this point. And we had a first conversation in late October, and there was a gathering of some folks who had heard about it in Michigan in November. And Isaiah had every intention of guiding us through this whole process through until Palm Sunday, until the surge in Minnesota happened. And then they had to put their focus on the home front and what they were doing there in Minnesota. And so they asked us if we wanted to pick it up and continue, or we could have let it drop. God provided us with an awesome group of folks who have a passion for this work and some expertise in this area, which is not my expertise. So I am so grateful for the folks that have stepped up to say, yeah, I would like to help lead this. And you're going to hear from some of those folks today, and I'm so excited about that. At this point, there is Minnesota is kind of back a little bit doing some things, and they have put up a website that will show you that there are at least 10 states. Good question, Katie. At least 10 states that are participating. It's in that website. You can see which ones they are. Many are Midwest, but we're listed as one of the many. So thank you. Jen is awesome. So Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska, North Dakota, Michigan, Minnesota, Oregon, South Dakota, and Tennessee. And there may be others, but those are the ones that have at least listed their information with Isaiah. I will let others explain more, but that's kind of how we got to where we are. I will say that we talked about early on, how would we do this? How would we imagine it? And because Palm Sunday was a procession, Jesus coming into the city, we thought, well, a procession or a walk toward the Capitol would be awesome. And we have a UCC church, Pilgrim UCC, right off of Michigan Avenue, where if you walk half a block, you can see the Capitol going right down the street. So it's like, okay, that seemed like a good place to start. And that's what we're doing. So I'll let others continue.
All right. You're going to be getting a whole bunch of links to resources after this meeting. And so I want to call attention to a few of those that can specifically help ground your congregations in sort of the theology and the intent of this movement. The goals that Isaiah Minnesota focused on were to be a public witness to the fact that following Jesus doesn't look like white Christian nationalism, and instead that following Jesus involves feeding the hungry, caring for the sick, and welcoming the stranger. Those are all taken directly from Matthew 25. So that's sort of the scriptural grounding for the focus of the event. The reason that Palm Sunday was chosen is because that is an event where Jesus confronted a militarized empire. He rode into the center of power. Some people even believe that the triumphal entry was the same day as a military parade was planned on the other side of Jerusalem. So Jesus's way of entering into that place of power stands in direct contrast to the military parade. And so we want to, as Christians, follow in Jesus's footsteps and be willing to move into places of power for the sake of confrontation, but in ways that are humble and that are focused on caring for the marginalized. There are some Lenten lectionary resources that Minnesota has provided. Those will be among the resources you get that can sort of help parse through some of the texts coming up during Lent and how those might connect to these themes. There's also some frequently asked question sheets and some summaries of the movement and how it's grounded in scripture that provide some really helpful language. There is a tool for how to spread the word, sort of a sample script for how to make a phone call to somebody that might be interested in this, and the kinds of details you can share about it and questions you can ask and language that can be used for that. So those are some of the pieces that I think are most specifically helpful in terms of helping your local community and colleagues at other churches in your community sort of capture the vision for what this is meant to be. I think that's all I need to say right now. I'll pass along to Michael.
Yeah, so if we could share that map, Jen, I sent you that in text, or if I could maybe share my screen.
Yeah, I will. Kim,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about communication for people
Yeah.
first, and then
Yeah.
we'll get to that? That's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So in terms of communication here in the state of Michigan and keeping everyone informed about what's going on with the Palm Sunday path, First, we have a Facebook page that is specifically information for that. It is Michigan Palm Sunday Path. So if you're on Facebook, you can just put in the little search engine, Michigan Palm Sunday Path. There it is. And it's going to pop up. And everything that we do, different forms, different ways to register, are all on this page. They're also being put on Instagram, same name, Michigan Palm Sunday Path. Besides social media, we are trying to get the information out as much as possible by email as well. Karen is also putting the information out in the newsletters that go out to everyone that gets those in this conference. And then we've had one informational meeting. The other one is tonight. And we're trying to keep people as posted as possible as we can as things progress in terms of logistics and just things that we want people to know. We have do's and don'ts. We're asking clergy to wear red stoles that day. We're asking everyone to bring their palms from Palm Sunday from your church services to carry along with us as we process. But one of the biggest pieces really for us is registration, the actual registration for the 29th, because on that registration sheet are the ways we will contact you. So one of the things on the registration is, are you willing to volunteer that day? And in what capacity? So are you willing to help with carpooling? Are you willing to help with passing out water? Are you willing to help with something medical if someone were to fall, if there were some minor injury that happened until we had real medical assistance show up? Are you willing to help with that? All of those things are things that you can put in the registration form. Also, if you're interested in singing in the choir. So what's happening is when people register, we are taking that information that you put in, and then you will get a separate email. So if you say, yes, I want to sing in the choir, then that information is going straight, your name and email address are going straight to the person in charge of music so that they can email you the music for Palm Sunday. And that will come to you in an email. And any information you need about the choir will come in that email. Or if you say, yes, I would be interested in helping with carpooling or setting up transportation, then you're going to get an email from Sarah that says, thank you so much for being willing to help in that way. This is what we need help with. And so that's how we're communicating primarily is the people we know that are coming at this point and that register, then we can get the information out to you as quickly as possible. Michael?
Yeah, so maybe share that map, because I know that we say Pilgrim UCC and some folks might not know Pilgrim United Church of Christ. But that's the map. That's just a quick graphic of a map that was made up. So you start at Pilgrim United Church of Christ, which is on Pennsylvania. And for folks that may know or not know Lansing, we're going to walk basically to Sparrow Hospital and turn left. That's what we're going to do, and go up towards the Capitol and walk a mile. We have contacts within the city of Lansing. So we have police that will be there to help march us up or process up Michigan Avenue to mark off and barricade and make sure that we are safe from all traffic. They will mark off. I think it's Cedar and Larch are the two major intersections they have to mark off. So we'll have 2 or 3 police officers with us that day on that mile walk up to the Capitol. We have one lane blocked off so that if we need to come off of the sidewalk and march or process, then we will have plenty of room to do that, because we are planning on 1,000 to 1,500 people to actually make this walk. As Kim mentioned, we are asking people to bring palms on that day to make that procession and to ground that procession in the walk of Jesus Christ. As I say, putting the sandals of Jesus Christ on the pavement and make that procession up. And while we're at the Capitol, we have state police that will be around for security to make sure that you keep everyone safe. We also have folks that have volunteered to be sort of marshals and keep an eye out. We have people that are trained in de-escalation to make sure that everyone is safe, just in case something does come up. We don't anticipate. I haven't heard anything about anyone doing a counter protest or anything like that. So we have safety on the way up. We have safety when we get there, which will be provided by the state police and the people at the state capitol. And then once there, we will partake in sort of, in a sense, a worship service. We have some words, some prayers, and some songs, and all waving the palms and all making the proclamation that love is the ultimate power, and that love is absolutely more powerful than what we are being told and shown, and the powers and principalities. Yeah, love is a much more powerful thing than what we are being told. And that's a proclamation on Sunday morning. And we have planned on, I believe, to then lay our palms on the Capitol and do a prayer over those palms and make that statement. So that's sort of the plan for the day. It sounds very basic, but it's not basic. There's a lot to put together. And so I'm thankful for Cheryl and Kim and Sarah and Karen and Jen and everybody on staff and everybody that has been part of this guiding group to bring this all together. As Cheryl, I've never done this before. And so I'm so appreciative of the team that we've been able to put together that is not just United Church of Christ. We have Episcopals, Methodists, Presbyterians. We have all kinds of denominations and different faith practices that are going to join us on the day, which is very inspirational for me. One of the things that has been brought up is why. And for me personally, seeing what's going on in the world can make me angry, anxious, anxiety, weary, depressed at times even. And what I have found with this Palm Sunday path is that this is an opportunity to take all of that energy and focus it on doing some goodness in the world and creating a different message for everyone to hear, and to make that proclamation that love is the guiding force of this universe, and that everything that we are seeing now is not what is guiding the universe. It does not take away from anything that is going on. It is not to belittle or take away anything from anybody that is feeling the heaviness of what is going on in the world. But we need to make a proclamation that that is not by design, that we are designed in love and we are designed in compassion. And this is the proclamation for Palm Sunday Path at 3:00 at the state capitol. And I'm so glad to be a part of this. So again, it feels basic. It's not basic to put it all together. But the basic path is we go from Pilgrim United Church of Christ in Pennsylvania, go up to Michigan Avenue, and head up towards the Capitol, and then have a worship service there. So we could probably open it up to questions or do anything we wish. Go ahead,
Let me
Cheryl.
just say, just really quickly, the United Church of Christ has been the lead on this, but we do have lots of other denominations participating and helping strongly. There's probably $6,000 cost or such, somewhere in that range for this, to get all of the things we need to do it. If you know of people who cannot participate but would like to give financially, that's also possible. Go to the Michigan Conference website. There's also a link somewhere. I think Jen can get that to you. I also want you to know our conference minister, the Reverend Dr. Lillian Daniel, is very supportive. She's out of the country right now. That's why she's not here. Otherwise, she would be supporting very strongly. I think, Sarah, you were
Yeah, I saw in the chat that someone asked about plans for parking and also how people would get back to where they are parked after the event. On the little map graphic that Michael shared, there are 3 small green boxes near the Capitol, and those are 3 churches of some of the other partnering denominations, Presbyterian, Episcopal, and United Methodist, who are all prepared to have their parking lots available for parking. And the Presbyterians are working on having a shuttle that would get people from their parking to the start of the march. So that's one of the pieces. I'm hopeful that we can coordinate that shuttle could maybe stop at all 3 parking lots and then also be available at the end of the event to get people who parked closer to the start back to their parking spots. We also are encouraging people to carpool. We have at least 3 towns, Coldwater, Grand Rapids, and Kalamazoo, all have buses that will be going. So if you're in one of those locations, let us know and we will try to connect you to the people coordinating those buses. But yeah, we're encouraging people to carpool or take buses as much as possible so that there are fewer vehicles that we need to try to find parking spots for. Oh, yeah, the bus locations, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Coldwater.
And one of the things I think that came up sort of in conversation was what do you do if you're in a church that can't get there, right? And I think that part of this it is the action in Lansing. It is that march, that processional, that walk in Lansing, but it is also the narrative that is being created around this Palm Sunday path, which is kind of in a sense an alternative narrative to what we see going on in the world. So I would invite folks that if you are in a church you can't come, or if you can't come yourself, whatever it is, to encourage your pastors or your church to make this proclamation on Palm Sunday, whether you come or not, to create this alternative narrative based on Jesus coming into town as a servant on a donkey, to tear down that empire of greed and power, which is represented by the Roman Empire coming down the other side of town in their processional. So I will step back from my soapbox, my pulpit, and ask questions or do whatever we need to do.
Just saying out loud, Greg Briggs put in the chat as well that if folks can get to Edgewood in East Lansing, that they can also park there and pack more people into cars to get to Pilgrim. So.
And use the bathroom, and if needed, there's a shower and things like that.
Thanks, Greg.
Kim, do you happen to know if the songs that are listed as resistance songs, they're on YouTube? Are those the same songs?
My understanding of the songs that are being chosen, which I am not singing in this choir. However, my understanding is there are going to be, the way the program is going to happen at the Capitol once we are all there is there will be a speaker. There's 3 different speakers. They are each from 3 different denominations. And so it'll go speaker, prayer, song, speaker, prayer, song, speaker, prayer, song. Those songs that are in between are actually, like, for example, when we're the speaker that's doing healing the sick, which I believe is Lawrence. The song is there's the Balm in Gilead song, right? My understanding is those 3 songs then are going to be actually hymns that most people know. Right now, there are almost 30 people signed up for the choir. And it looks like we've got a great choir forming. Now, the songs beforehand and then the ending song will be from the songs of resistance.
Okay.
And as we march, there are also some of the call and response songs that are from the Marching for Resistance that can be used during that as well. But during the program, with the three speakers, my understanding is that those three are hymns.
Thank you.
So Forrest asked in the chat when the walk begins from Pilgrim. The walk starts at 3:00, and then we're walking a mile with a bunch of people. So the programming at the Capitol will start approximately 4-ish. Okay, great.
3:05. You got to run.
And someone else had asked whether there was a gathering time at Pilgrim. At this point, we are hoping to have people on the ground at Pilgrim starting at 2:00 to help people, who are arriving. So anytime, people can arrive anytime between 2 and 3 at Pilgrim. And there was a question about children. Children are welcome. It's a long event with lots of walking. So we, trust parents to use their discretion about whether their kids are up for it. But there's no reason that we think it would be unsafe for kids.
I'm not going to make Jen read my thing out loud. I got someone approached me this week about using Edgewood as a place to host a resistance chorus, more for No Kings than Palm Sunday Path. So they're going to be meeting at 4:00 on Sunday. They may be also wanting to get involved in Palm Sunday Path. So when they have a chance to talk about that, I will pass that information along to the organizers.
For those of you who may not have heard yet, that's also something to kind of mention. There is the No Kings protests that are happening across the country on Saturday, the 28th, and then we're again having this action on Sunday, the 29th. So I think that there's dual action there that is important to make note of, and how important this is as a separate event to what is happening on Saturday for No Kings. So
There are opportunities for those who do not want to walk or and quite frankly, there's no one that can predict what the weather's going to be like that day. This is happening, rain, shine, snow, sleet, hail, whatever you want to call it. But uh if for some reason, there are people who on the registration are marking that they don't want to do the processional, but they want to be at the Capitol for the program. And so in that case, we are going to have people at the Capitol who aren't processing, and you can stay there while everyone is doing the procession. And we're going to have some opportunities, um, for people to pass out water there. There's going to be some tables that have information about what's next after the Palm Sunday path, and things like that. So if you have people in your churches who are like, well, I'd love to come, I would love to see the program, but I can't do the walk, that's totally fine. They can just be waiting at the Capitol, and I already know we're going to have people doing that because of how they've marked it on the form. And so you won't be alone. There'll be a nice sized group waiting to welcome everyone that does the processional.
Do other folks have any questions about how to get involved or what resources you might need? Oh, how long do you anticipate at the Capitol? Great question, Pam.
We're thinking about an hour. Mhm. That's a great question, Greg. We have meetings for the most part on Mondays at about 10 o'clock. If you would like that Zoom link.
That's when my staff meeting is, unfortunately.
Yeah, so, well, you and I could talk then. Yeah.
But also, like, beyond just like me personally, like just
Right.
kind of getting out to other people, like, again, and I came in late, I apologize, phone call went late, but like, so I don't know, like at one point there was a talk of like having like hospitality stations or like porta potties and stuff like that, you know, along the route and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's any of those things that are still going on, or you're trying to staff them, or you know, um things like that.
So, yeah, so the porta potty question is we have porta potties ordered. So we'll have plenty of them, and even at Pilgrim, we'll have a couple of them at Pilgrim as well. So there'll be porta potties at the Capitol. I don't know about along the route, but at least at the Capitol, there will be some porta potties. I think the biggest thing for that day is kind of people that have talents, whether it's de-escalation talents, or want to help manage some of the traffic. We're going to get some vests so that people can have vests that are marked. I don't know if they're going to be medical vests or not. So de-escalation people. So we're going to have people among the crowd that have different talents like that. So somebody wanted to, for instance, be someone who kind of like walked and made sure that everybody got through the intersection okay, because we might need a couple of those people on Pennsylvania Avenue and then along the route. Somebody who might be, yeah, so there's different things like that on the day of. I believe that I don't know if we have stations planned along the route. We will have water at Pilgrim with snacks and things like that. And there will be some people that might even be carrying those things just in case someone's does, you know, the sugar gets low or they do get dehydrated or something like that. So there'll be people among the crowd that will have that type of stuff. So volunteers to do those types of things. Yeah.
Have you talked with a
And
Meta
Sarah
Peace team about like de-escalation or?
they've been in contact. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just add that in terms of transportation, you know, I named the 3 areas that we know buses are coming from. If you're in a different part of the state and have someone in your network who would be thrilled to coordinate a bus or a van, that is always needed. And I know the Detroit area in particular has some sort of complex transportation needs. So if you know someone in Detroit who loves coordinating charter buses, connect them with Kim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or with Paul,
Mm-hmm.
because Kim's just a little bit busy right now.
Kim is making that I am not coordinating buses. Yeah. And the other thing that makes me that puts me at ease, sorry, Paul, I'll get back to sorry hand, is that I've never done this before. There are people in the organizing group that have done this multiple times and have been to Minnesota and come back. And so they have sort of like the checklist to make sure that we do have those tiny little details that are in place, such as Meta Peace and things like that. So yeah, I feel pretty confident that we've got this kind of those little details. So go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. People are certainly welcome to contact me. But Galen Fisher has been working on buses from the Detroit area. However, he's had some medical issues coming right up. So I will try to work with him as much as possible. If people who can't walk the whole way There, you said there is parking at those churches along north of the Capitol. So um, perhaps some of us may drive and drop some people off and then go back to the church. But then still there's a issue of if you park at Pilgrim, then you've got to walk back. Or is there any possibility of people doing shuttles back from the Capitol to, say, Pilgrim?
There is that possibility. We haven't nailed it down, Paul, but that is what we are hoping to get in place.
Okay, good.
I know that some of those churches near the Capitol are also willing to be open for people to use restrooms in there. One of the pieces that I'm hoping we can talk about in our planning team is whether we can confirm with those churches that they could be open for people who would like to be at the Capitol but can't do the whole walk, so that like if they come in on a bus at 2:00 or at 2:30, but they know that they're not going to be able to participate until 4:00 when events start at the Capitol, whether there might be some hospitality space at one of those churches closer to the Capitol where people can camp out and drink water and be sitting down while they wait for the procession.
I know on Monday's meeting, Sarah, Grace ELCA, which is not on that map, but it is right near the Capitol, they have said yes, that people can hang out there, use the restrooms there and stuff as well. We'll have to add that into the map because it's not a great place to park if you're going to process, because it's on like the far side of the Capitol from the parking. Like you might walk 1.5 miles one way instead of just a mile. But I know that they've said yes. And then in the question about signs or palms only, yes, we are going to also be having signs. There are some templates that we're going to send out by email of signs that some of which Sarah designed, some of which are through Illustrated Ministries, or people can make their own. What we're asking is that there are no names on signs. This is, part of what's going to set us apart from No Kings. We're asking no one to put any governmental officials' names on signs. No partisan messages, and no foul language on the signs. But if you want to make a sign that says, peace and equality for all, absolutely. We have no problem with any of that. And Jen's pulling up some of the sample signs now. So you'd be able to print these out or have them made at a sign company near you for the people who are coming. So these are just some of the options that have been made.
Any other thoughts or questions about how to get involved? Anything that you might need if you're on this call about how to talk to people in your church or your community? So that's another really important thing that I think is beautiful about what has been happening. As Cheryl and this team have been continuing to share the ecumenical work that's been happening. I'm so grateful to see those other churches, the parking lots and the participation. This is not not exclusive, right, to the United Church of Christ by any means. This is a message that is so much broader, and so I think that that piece is, asking all of you on this call, somebody from another church in your town, right? Can you get another car or another group of people to join in this effort? So I just think that is that's such a beautiful thing that is happening with all the efforts that y'all have put into organizing. So grateful. As is Jill in the chat.
Mhm.
Other thoughts?
Is anyone that's here right now wanting to register and hasn't yet? Because if you're not coming tonight, then Jen can throw the registration link in the chat and you can register now on the Google Doc, and that way we have your information and can reach out if you happen to want to sing in the choir or if you happen to want to participate, volunteering or anything like that. Yep, so she just threw it in there. If you're interested in participating, please go ahead and fill that form out.
I think Jeffrey, you asked, and Kim and Sarah, you could maybe chime in with something different, but I don't think there's a whole lot that's going to be shared this evening that is a whole lot different than today. It's a more expanded, but it's not, there's not a whole lot more information.
So sharing the link tonight with people who who couldn't be here today would be the
Mhm.
And of course, this resource will be is being recorded. It's being live streamed on YouTube, so we will have this as well with the details that you then can also share with people in that, as you're using the template to talk to others about this, you can share this link as well after today. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate how valuable it can be to connect with colleagues at other churches in your community about this. The Episcopal Diocese for Michigan has signed on officially, so talk to your Episcopal colleagues. The ELCA Lutherans, same, their bishop is on board. The Presbyterians in Presbytery of Lake Michigan have gotten information from their presbytery. So there's reasons to connect. People might have heard of this, but not been sure about going. But if they have one local connection with another church that's going, they might be more willing to step forward. And also part of the vision that Minnesota, Isaiah from Minnesota has launched with this is that in addition to this state level action on Palm Sunday, we would also be engaging in our counties around these areas of concern, feeding the hungry, healing the sick, and welcoming the stranger. So at the Palm Sunday event, we'll be inviting people to make a commitment. We're calling it a Palm Sunday promise, but a commitment to local engagement through the season of Easter, and having local colleagues from other churches in your county who you can be collaborating with on those local actions will be a really beautiful way to deepen that commitment and deepen relationships through the season. So yeah, find local partners.
And Forrest asked, yeah, we put the link to register in there. So the answer to that question is share the link and invite people to register. One of the other pieces that that I wanted to bring up was that kind of after Palm Sunday is holding tight to one another and staying organized and staying together, so that then on July 3rd, this group grows even larger to go to Washington, to go to Philadelphia, on July 3rd. So this same group that is in Minnesota that brought this to us is trying to organize something in Philadelphia as well on July 3rd. So again, an alternative narrative in Philadelphia to I am sure, or we are sure, excuse me, of what's going to go on in Washington, D.C. on July 4th, given what this current administration, I guess I would call it, this current administration is going to do to celebrate that anniversary. So that's the other piece of this. That sometimes we kind of tend to forget that after this is continuing to stay organized and connected and getting to Philadelphia on July 3rd. Yeah.
Again, to answer, Lawrence, I'm going to pass it to you to close us with our 12:45 benediction in just 1 second. But again, from a communication standpoint, like Forrest was asking, like, how are people finding out about this? So the link to register for March 29th is in the March newsletter that went out yesterday from the Michigan Conference. And then the Facebook page and the Instagram account for the Michigan Palm Sunday Path both have that link kind of prominently displayed within their feed. So there's both of those ways. Karen, I don't know if you want to add if the link for registration is on the website or if the newsletter is the best place to jump in to find that.
Yep. Yeah, it is. That's a good question, Jen. And obviously there's multiple modes, but I think the best thing is word of mouth from our clergy and from our lay leaders, like out to our churches. Like's been said before, it's available on Facebook. It is on our website under PIMAT, the ministry area team. But best and most direct source would probably be the Palm Sunday website, which is also in our newsletter and on Palm Sunday Path Facebook page.
And it's very easy, palmsunday2026.com.
All right, well, we are just a couple of minutes over our promised 12:45 time. I will give you these words of benediction, and if there are folks that want to stay on for a few minutes afterwards and have some follow-up discussion, you certainly can. And for those who need to log off, that is understandable. Thank you to Michael, Kim, Sarah, Jen, Cheryl, and Karen for all that you are doing to make this happen. We are so grateful for this opportunity. And now, friends, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Go in peace, dear ones, until we meet again.
Okay.
If folks have questions and want to stay to ask those personally, you can. We'll keep the Zoom open for just a few minutes. If not, have a wonderful day. All right, folks, I'm stopping recording.